The concern, and I was talking to James about this before you joined on, Paul.
Here we go.
Yeah, you didn't hear this. The pitching is right now third in ERA. So, I'm sorry, this was coming into today. Coming into Sunday, before they did this, they were third in ERA, and that obviously only got better with Freddie's start and only giving up one run there to the Cardinals. And this is not sustainable. What they're doing right now is just frankly completely unsustainable. They're third in ERA. They're 16th in FIP. And this is largely because right now, if you look at them on a they're 27th in strikeout rate. And that is just not, first off, that's something that we haven't seen from this team. Even last year when they struggled, they were still striking guys out on the pitching side. They're not striking guys out the way they were. And, a big part of this is Burns just not being Burns. And that is weighing heavily on this. And I think also maybe the fact that, like, their best relievers haven't pitched maybe as much as you would expect because they haven't had to, because they're bludgeoning teams so much that the best relief pitchers, like they trotted out Williams and Bush today just for I think both of them for the third time this season. And not in a game where they needed to be out there, just because they needed to get them work. And so this is the primary problem. They're middle of the pack in terms of walks. So it's not a problem, but it's also not like great.
Ideal.
And the big thing, you're gonna hate this, Paul. In terms of left on base percent, they are number one in baseball with 84.2% left on base.
I'm not surprised to hear that last one. That's unsustainable for sure. I wouldn't be so sure though that the FIP ERA mismatch here is quite as unsustainable as it seems, because I do think Burns is like 80% of that. So Burns and Lauer together, I think, are like 85-90% of that. And it's not as surprising from Lauer. It's not great that he has struggled early, but it's less surprising than Burns. And if you just like look down the FIP list on the team, like Burns is 709 and Lauer is 698, and nobody else is that out of whack on FIP. Like the lesser relievers are in the fours, which is kind of where those guys live, but the rest of them are in the twos for the most part. I mean, those with any sample size, like Gus Verallen's 2.91, Strzelecki is 2.84. Hobie is whatever Hobie is, he's fine. And Devin Williams is 2.34 and hasn't pitched that much. He's pitched a little bit. So like I do think there's selection bias, and then there's just Burns tank and everything. I mean, it's just not a big sample size, and when your ace guy is pitching like one of the worst guys in baseball, that's going to kill your FIP pretty easily. So I think it's pretty likely they come back up more than they go down. Like I think it's more likely Burns does get things straightened out one way or another, whether it's like a DL stint or something like that. It's unlikely he sucks this bad for the entire year. And when that happens, that FIP's going to sink, and I think it'll look more rational, more normal. So not that worried about it. It's not great, but it really is, I think, one guy mostly. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think the FIP will move towards the ERA as well. Like this is not all about like the ERA is going to, bounce up to get to the FIP. Yeah, that it's going to do that. I think they are going to, meet in the middle somewhat. You hope it's more middle than it is closer to the FIP side, but